Final Destination is an American horror franchise based on an unproduced spec script by Jeffrey Reddick, originally written for the X-Files television series. Distributed by New Line Cinema, all 5 films are centered on the themes of fatalism, predestination, and precognition, in relation to death. In a less abstract sense, each film features a protagonist having a premonition of a terrible accident that would kill numerous people, including the protagonist themself. The protagonist and several other people then escape from the scene of the accident, before it happens, just like in the protagonist's vision. The group of people then start dying in a series of bizarre accidents that frequently resemble Rube Goldberg machines in their complexity. The series is noteworthy amongst others in the horror genre in that the villain of the movies is not the stereotypical slashers, monsters, creatures, beasts, or demons. It is the entity death itself, which manipulates the environment in deadly ways with the intent of recapturing those who somehow manage to escape their fates the first time. Some of them try to take their own lives by committing suicide, but death usually appears to thwart their plans to ensure that they die the way it intends them to. In addition to the films, a novel series was published throughout 2005 and 2006 by Black Flame. A one-shot comic book titled Final Destination: Sacrifice was released alongside select DVDs of Final Destination 3 in 2006, and a comic series titled Final Destination: Spring Break was published by Zenescope Entertainment in 2007. Films: Final Destination. Alex Browning is going on his high school trip to Paris along with his fellow classmates and teachers. Before takeoff, Alex has a premonition that the plane will explode in mid-air, killing everyone on board. When events from his vision begin to repeat themselves in reality, he attempts to stop the flight, leading to a handful of passengers being left behind, including Clear Rivers, Carter Horton, Billy Hitchcock, Valerie Luton, Terry Chaney, and Todd Wagner. After Alex and his friends are forced off the plane, the airliner explodes. When Todd dies in a bizarre accident only a month later, Alex begins to suspect that they were never meant to get off the plane. As the survivors begin to die one by one, those that remain struggle to find a way to cheat death's plan. 6 months later, Alex, Claire, and Carter relax in Paris, believing they've finally cheated death. However, Carter is killed when he is crushed by a giant neon sign, revealing death's plan is still in action. Final Destination 2. 1 year after the explosion of Flight 180, Kimberly Kim Corman has a premonition of a pile-up on Route 23, killing everyone involved. She stalls her SUV on the entrance ramp with her 3 best friends Shaina, Dano, and Frankie. This stops State Trooper Thomas Burke, Eugene Dix, Rory Peters, Kat Jennings, Nora and Tim Carpenter, Evan Lewis, and pregnant Isabella Hudson from entering the freeway. While Officer Burke questions Kimberly about the inconvenience, her vision becomes a reality and an 18-wheeler truck carrying cut lumber plows into Kimberly's SUV, killing Shaina, Dano, and Frankie, and causing a pile-up. In the days following the accident, Kimberly learns of the crash of Flight 180 and teams up with Claire, the only survivor, to try to save a new group of people from death's plan. This time, the survivors are warned that only new life can defeat death and are killed one by one through a series of freak accidents as Isabella's delivery date draws closer. It is revealed that Isabella was never meant to die in the pile-up, and Kimberly drowns herself in the lake so that she can be resuscitated by emergency staff, and is thus granted new life. Final Destination 3. 6 years after the explosion of Flight 180, and 5 years after the pile-up on Route 23, Wendy Christensen, the school photographer at McKinley High School, visits an amusement park with her friends Kevin Fisher, Jason Wise, and Carrie Dreyer. As Wendy and her friends board the Devil's Flight roller coaster, she has a premonition that it will crash, killing everyone on board. Wendy panics and manages to get off the roller coaster along with Kevin, Wendy's younger sister Julie, Ian McKinley, Perry Malinowski, Erin Ulmer, Luis Romero, Frankie Cheeks, and Ashley Freund and Ashlyn Halperin. Minutes later, the disaster occurs and Jason and Carrie are killed in the resulting accident. A few days later, Kevin tells Wendy about the crash of Flight 180, and claims that the people who got off of the roller coaster will die, just as Alex and his friends did. The survivors begin dying in a series of strange accidents, but Wendy, Kevin, and Julie come to believe they have cheated death. Their attempts to survive later prove fruitless when all three coincidentally cross paths 5 months later and die in a bizarre subway accident. The final destination. 10 years after the explosion of Flight 180, 9 years after the pile-up on Route 23, and 4 years after the derailing of Devil's Flight, Nick O'Bannon has a premonition in which multiple race cars will crash at the McKinley Speedway. Before his vision becomes a reality, Nick immediately persuades his friends Laurie Milligan, Janet Cunningham, and Hunt Wynorski, security guard George Lanta, and spectators Jonathan Groves, Andy Cusa, Samantha Lane, Carter Daniels, and Nadia Monroy to leave the stadium, before the accident occurs. Once again, the other survivors are killed in a series of bizarre accidents except Janet, who is rescued just moments before her death thanks to Nick's visions. This leads the other survivors to believe they have cheated death until Nick has another premonition of a disastrous explosion at a shopping mall, although Nick manages to stop the disaster. 2 weeks later, Nick realizes he, Laurie, and Janet are right where death wants them to be and they are all killed by a runaway semi, while at a cafe. Final Destination 5. Sam Lawton has a premonition that the North Bay Bridge will collapse, killing everyone on it. As his vision becomes reality, Sam manages to rescue his co-workers Molly Harper, Nathan Sears, Peter Friedkin, Dennis Lapman, Olivia Castle, Isaac Palmer, and Candice Hooper. After Isoc and Candice die in bizarre accidents, Sam is warned of Death's plans and told that his only means of survival are to kill somebody else and claim their remaining lifespan. Dennis and Olivia are killed before they have a chance to save themselves, but Nathan successfully claims the lifespan of a co-worker when he accidentally causes his death in a warehouse accident. Peter attempts to kill Molly, jealous that she survived instead of Candice. Peter eventually gains the lifespan of an investigating agent, but is killed by Sam while attempting to kill Molly. Sam and Molly later board a flight to Paris and in a twist ending, it is revealed that the events of the movie have taken place before the explosion of Flight 180 of the original Final Destination movie when they witness Alex and his classmates get thrown off the plane, and they themselves are killed in the explosion. When Flight 180 explodes, the landing gear is sent towards New York City, where it crashes into a cocktail bar and kills Nathan. Future. On February 1, 2011, Tony Todd said in an interview with Dread Central that if Final Destination 5 is a success at the box office, then 2 sequels would be filmed back-to-back. On August 23, 2011, when inquired whether he will be directing a sequel, Stephen Quayle elaborates, "Who knows? Never say never. I mean, it'll be up to the fans. We'll see how this one performs internationally and if it makes as much money as the 4th one, I'm sure Warner Brothers will want to make another one." In April 2013, Tony Todd announced a script for a 6th film was in the works, however, nothing has been said since. Cast and characters. List indicator, S.V., indicates the actor or actress used only his or her voice for his or her film character, F. indicates the actor or actress did not appear in any new footage for the film. Footage from an earlier film was used. Photo, indicates the actor or actress appeared in a photograph for the film. S, indicates that the actor did not appear, but a CGI skeleton represented the character and their mode of death. A dark gray cell indicates the character was not in the film. Novels. Throughout 2005, publishing company Black Flame released a series of Final Destination books which faithfully follow the premise of the films, with each involving a group of people who find themselves targeted by death after surviving a catastrophe of some sort due to a character experiencing a precognitive vision. The first novel, entitled Dead Reckoning, has punk rocker Jessica Golden saving herself and several others from the collapse of Club Kitty in Los Angeles, earning death's ire. Destination Zero, also set in L.A., as magazine employee Patricia Fuller and few others survive a train bombing and afterward, while being stalked by death, Patty learns this is not the first time her family has been hunted by the entity. and of the line has a group of New York subway crash survivors, led by twins Danny and Louise King, trying to escape death, who uses an unknowing agent to hasten its acquisition of the survivors. In Dead Man's Hand, a group meant to die in the crash of a Las Vegas glass elevator are stalked by both death and the FBI, the latter believing the group's savior Allie Goodwin Gaines was responsible for the elevator crash. Looks Could Kill has beautiful New York model Stephanie Sherry Puliski stopping her friends from boarding a yacht when she has a vision of it exploding, but is left horribly disfigured and comatose by flying debris moments afterward when her vision comes true. Eventually awakening, the embittered Stephanie makes a deal with death, aiding it in claiming her friends in exchange for having her good looks restored. After the run of the original series of books, Black Flame released novelizations of the first 3 films in January 2006. Black Flame's last Final Destination novel was Death of the Senses, released in mid-2006. Taking place in New York, the book is a homeless man named Jack Curtis saving policewoman Amy Tom from a maniac after having a vision of Amy's death. Amy's attacker is later revealed to be a serial killer who was meant to murder 6 other people who death begins targeting as Jack and Amy rush to find and warn the intended victims. It was, due to a printing error, only available for a short period of time before being recalled, leaving only a few copies in circulation. A 10th novel, subtitled Wipeout and written by Alex Johnson, was planned, but cancelled. The book would have featured a pair of surfers and several others, after surviving a plane crash in Hawaii, being hunted by death, and a survivor of another disaster, an unstable soldier who had nearly died in an ambush in Afghanistan. Comics. The first Final Destination comic book, entitled Sacrifice, was published by Zenescope Entertainment and came packaged with a limited edition DVD of Final Destination 3 sold exclusively at Circuit City. The premise of the story involves the survivor of a terrible accident, who continually experiences images of other people's deaths, isolating himself from the rest of the world to escape the visions that torment him. Zenescope later released a 5-issue miniseries, subtitled Spring Break, which involves a group led by Carly Haugen being stalked by death after surviving a hotel fire and becoming stranded in Cancun, Mexico. The miniseries was later released in a trade paperback collection, which included the Sacrifice comic as bonus content. Reception, box office performance, critical reception, spin-off works, bibliography, comics. Novels. References. External links, Final Destination series at AllMovie.